Hi, my name is MKC from MIM System or EMAS Software, Seram Berhad. Our government on 1st of April 2015 starting to implement the GST in Malaysia. And my company already get the GST approval from Jambatan Remaja Custom Malaysia. So today, I want to demo EMAS accounting system. I want to show you how easy using EMAS accounting system to implement the GST system. Before I start to show the accounting system, I need to show you the concept of the GST. What is the input tax and what is the output tax? You receive the invoice from your supplier. That is come with the 6% tax. We call it input tax. When you issue the invoice to your customer, you also have the 6% tax. The tax we call it output tax. This means that when you purchase, you pay the tax we call input tax. When you sell to customer, the invoice, the tax we call it output tax. The GST amount equal to output tax minus input tax. It's the difference. We call it GST amount. If the output tax greater than input tax, this means that you need to pay the GST to government. The other way, if your input tax is greater than output tax, then you can claim the input tax from government. When to submit? If your annual sales, your turnover 1 year is greater or equal to 5 million, you have to submit every month. If your annual sales is less than 5 million, then 3 months you submit one time. Example, your January sales, 1st of January until 31st of January sales, they submit on before 28th of February. You need to do the submission. For the 3 months, from January until March sales transaction, you need to submit before 30th of April. Method of payment. You can make your payment through bank, by check or by cash. Tax payment can be made at the following bank: Public Bank, Maybank, Hong Leong Bank, RHB Bank, Bank Islam, and CIMB Bank. Now I want to show you is how is the tax amount is calculated. They have two methods to calculate the GST. The first method we call it tax excluded. So your invoice amount is 1,000. Your rate is 6%. So your tax amount is $60. How to get the $60? 1,000 times 6 divided by 100. So you get the tax amount is $60. Then your taxable amount, your invoice amount is 1,000. Another method we call it tax included. Mean the 1,000 tax amount is already include the tax, the sales tax, and the GST. So the tax rate is 6%. The tax amount is $56.60. How do I get this amount? 1,000 times 6 divided by 106. So you equal to 56.60 cents. This your GST amount is 56.60 cents, not $60. Because your 1,000 is include the GST already. So the formula is, let's say your GST rate is 6% times 6 divided by 106. If your GST is 7% times 7 divided by 107. So the invoice amount is after deduct the GST amount. So you get is not 1,000, it's $943.40. Okay, now I want to remind you, after implement the GST, there is some difference to your current operation. The first one is, we call it delivery order. After you issue your delivery order, within 21 days, you must need to issue your invoice. Of course, our system will help you to handle this. The second one is on deposit. Everyone know when issue the invoice, we need to calculate the GST. But actually, when you collect the deposit is part of your payment. The deposit is non-refundable. Then the deposit also need to pay the GST, to calculate the GST. Another one I want to let you know is the bad debt relief. What is the bad debt relief? When your invoice, after 6 months, not yet make any payment, the output tax you pay to your government, you can claim back from government. And the other way, you receive a supplier invoice, then you claim the input tax from government. Now, after 6 months, you not yet make any payment to your supplier, the input tax you already claimed, you need to reverse back to your government. We call it bad debt relief. For the bad debt relief, the customer invoice is not compulsory. This means that you can only do bad debt relief after 6 months, in the invoice over 6 months. But for account payable, you need to do this bad debt relief. Another one you need to take note is on credit note and debit note. During you issue a credit note, you need to specify this credit note is credit to which invoice number, what is the invoice date, and what is the reason why you need to issue this credit note. This means that the credit note or debit note, the format you print out, you need to have status, the invoice number, the invoice date, and also the reason. This is the difference to current accessing your operating system. The following is the announcement from Custom JKDM. Okay, when to start the GST, need implement 1st of April for year 2015. When you purchase the software from this currently is 55 company, you can get 1,000 subsidies from government. Of course, you need to register your company under SME Corporation. You need to register your GST, your company as a GST registration, start from the 1st on June, year 2014. Mean next month, you need to start to do a GST registration. I want to show you implementing GST in EMAS accounting system. Now I want to show you in our accounting system, for implement the GST, you need to create some new account. Now I go to Java account. The first account I need to generate is called GST control account. The account type called current liability. Second one is input tax account. During your purchase from your supplier, you have the input tax. The account type also current liability. The next account is output tax. During you issue invoice to your customer, you collect the 6% GST. The account we call it output tax account. The account type also under current liability. And you need to create another account called disallowed input tax. The account type called under expenser. Disallowed input tax means normally you purchase from your supplier, the GST you can claim back from your government, we call it input tax. But not all the item you can claim. Some of the item like you purchase motor car for company use, then the input tax you cannot claim from a government. So you put in another account called disallowed input tax. And maybe you have another account called GST expenser account. There is some item you purchase, you cannot claim all. Maybe your purchase amount is 1,000. Maybe you can claim only 500. So another 500, we go to GST expense account. The account type called expense. For the input tax account, the main group, we put it GST control account. Same thing to the output tax account, the main group also under GST control account. This means that end of the month, when you preview or you print your balance sheet account, the GST control will appear in your balance sheet account instead of appear these two output tax and input tax account. Now I want to show you in accounting system how to enter the input tax. Mean you when you key in your purchase transaction. The master account, we put purchase account. Of course, you need to key in the input tax account. The input tax account, we call it under purchase tax. If there is the sales flow to customer, the master account you key in is the sales account, and your output tax account is keyed under sales tax column. Okay, the bill type is the invoice. Let's say I key in the date is 1st of January. Okay, I select one of the supplier, key in the invoice number. The amount is 1,000. Tax to be added. This means that 1,000, is it included the tax or not included the tax? Yes means tax to be added means you want to add in the tax, means the amount is not included. So the GST is $60. If that is included, you put no. So the system will automatically calculate the GST amount is 56.60 cents. Okay, let's say I put yes. So the tax code, I can look up to select the tax code. By default, we'll put it under P-tax. All the code here appear P-tax 23457 is our system created tax code. The custom, they're using the tax code called TX. Why you need to create a different code? The reason is because of the reporting purpose. So the tax amount is 1,000. When I click save, the system will automatically show up creditor 1060. Debit purchase account is 1,000 and will debit to input tax account $60. Now I want to show you how to enter the CN. Let's say now I purchase return, let's say $200. Okay, now I create another new batch to key in the transaction. Maybe we have return outward account. Okay, now normally the input tax we key in under purchase tax, but for the CN, there's another way. We key in the purchase tax account, mean your input tax is under sales tax column. Normally we put our input tax is under purchase tax, but for a CN, we put the other way. We put under sales tax, but account also input tax account. The bill type we change to CN. Let's say 31st of January or 15th. Okay. We return to this supplier. So we now issue the CN. The amount is 200. So normally for the CN, 200 is normally include the GST already. So the GST, the system auto calculate is 11.32 cents. Of course, we can apply the invoice as a normal. The tax code is pre-tax, so the tax amount is not 200 because it includes the tax. It's after minus the GST, so become 188.68. So for the CN, they will debit the creditor and credit to your return outward account and credit your input tax account. Now I want to show you the GST 03 report. Your standard rate means your purchase amount original to be 1000, because now we have the CN 200 and the CN 200 is includes GST. So the $60 GST, it will minus out the CN GST amount, and also the 1000, it will minus out the return. So become 811.32 cents. So the input tax is 48.68 cents. This is the GST 03 report. Now I want to show you how to enter the disallowed input tax. We all know that not all the items we purchase, we can claim the input tax from the custom. You go to housekeeping, there is a system set up. You go to the GST tab. Expenses not allowed to claim the input tax. What type of expenses you cannot claim back from government? Example, purchase of motor car, club subscription fee, medical and personal accident insurance premium, personal medical expenses, family benefit. You purchase anything for your own family benefits, then you cannot claim back the input tax from government. You go to the batch number 4. Okay, example, I go to the bank account, master account, I key in bank account. Then the purchase tax account, normally we enter input tax, but now I key in disallowed input tax account. The bill type is PV, purchase. Let's say I purchase a motor vehicle. This is my payment voucher number. Let's say motor vehicle I debit 3000. Tax to be added, yes. So the GST 6% is $180. The tax code I need to put in called BL, purchase under block input tax. The tax amount is 3000. After I save, you can see the transaction. Debit motor vehicle 3000, credit bank 3180, debit the disallowed input tax $180. Now I go to GST report. You can see that the input tax remain unchanged. The input tax I key in under disallowed input tax, they will not show out under GST 03 report. For the disallowed input tax, we can predefine the tax code in your tax account, because we know that purchase of motor vehicle, there is not allowed claim the input tax, so it can be predefined key in your tax code here. Now I want to show you the purchase from a supplier but do not have the improper invoice. Example, you purchase one office chair from let's say from a Giant, so there is no proper invoice to you. For a GST rule, if the invoice is not proper, the maximum it can claim the input tax is 500 only. The tax means the tax is $30. 6% is $30. That's the maximum you can claim lah. Okay, now I show you how to key in this type of the input tax. Let's say now you want to purchase, let's say I go to bank account. The tax I put in is the input tax account. I purchase an office chair. I put it under, let's say, furniture and fitting lah. Okay. The reference number, let's say $600. Tax to be added, yes. Suppose I can claim back the input tax is $36. Because now, because the invoice they don't show you your company name and your company address. So we consider this type of the invoice is not complete. It's not complete invoice. So the maximum you can claim the input tax is 500. So the tax amount I can claim is 500. What happened to another 100? We go to GST expense account. When I click save, there's a 4 transaction appear in your system. Debit your furniture and fittings, $600. Your bank credit is 636, means 600 plus the input tax, the GST, $36. But you can claim from government according to the GST rule. The maximum for input tax you can claim is $30. So another $6 we go to expense account. Now I want to show you the sales batch account. Let's say I go to batch number 3. So the sales master account, I should put in the sales account. So the tax, the input tax, the output tax account, I will key in under sales tax column. The bill type is invoice. Then I look up for one of the customer. Example ABC Siran Berhad. Okay, the invoice number, let's say 0001. Okay, the amount is 1000. Tax to be added, yes. So the sales tax is $60, the output tax. So the tax code, same thing, it will open under X tax. By default, we'll show the X tax. Okay. Then I save it. After you save, you can see our system is debit the customer is 1060. Credit the sales account is 1000 because our sales is 1000 only. The $60 is the GST output tax account. Now I go to GST 03 report. You can see there is the 1000 sales. $60 is the output tax, is the GST. So the difference for output tax minor input tax, until now you need to pay the tax to government is $11.32. If you have using our billing system, then it's more easier. You go to the transaction, let's say stock receipt, key in as a normal. Let's say stock receipt invoice number, the date of the purchase from a supplier. So the default will show the tax code is P-tax. Then I go to detail, key in one of the item, let's say 1000. save. When I go to preview, the system will automatically calculate the 6% GST. So your total purchase is 1060. When go to transaction, there is the transaction automatically update here. Debit purchase 1000, credit creditor 1060, and will debit the input tax is $60. You can redefine your tax code in creditor maintenance. For example, if this creditor is foreign company, so we purchase, if there is the zero purchase, the tax code without zero rate, so you can redefine the tax code here. For ZP, purchase from GST register supply from no GST. Or sometimes purchase from the creditor is non-registered supplier, so you can